Tartarus. 67 languages. Persephone supervising Sisyphus in the underworld, Attic black figure. Amphora, c. 530 BC. For other uses, see Tartarus, disambiguation. In Greek mythology, Tartarus, /TRTRS/, Ancient Greek. Romanized, Tartaros, 1, is the deep abyss that is used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked, and as the prison for the Titans. Tartarus is the place where, according to Plato's Gorgias, c. 400 BC, souls are judged after death and where the wicked received divine punishment. Tartarus appears in early Greek cosmology, such as in Hesiod's Theogony, where the personified Tartarus is described as one of the earliest beings to exist, alongside Chaos and Gaia, Earth. Greek mythology, edit. In Greek mythology, Tartarus is both a deity and a place in the underworld. As a deity, edit. In the Greek poet Hesiod's Theogony, c. late 8th century BC, Tartarus was the third of the primordial deities, following after Chaos and Gaia, Earth, and preceding Eros, 2, and was the father, by Gaia, of the monster Typhon. 3. According to Hyginus, Tartarus was the offspring of Ether and Gaia. 4. As a location, edit. Hesiod asserts that a bronze anvil falling from heaven would fall 9 days before it reached the earth. The anvil would take 9 more days to fall from earth to Tartarus. 5. In the Iliad, c. 8th century BC, Zeus asserts that Tartarus is as far beneath Hades as heaven is above earth. 6. Similarly, the mythographer Apollodorus describes Tartarus as a gloomy place in Hades as far distant from earth as earth is distant from the sky. 7. While according to Greek mythology the realm of Hades is the place of the dead, Tartarus also has a number of inhabitants. When Cronus came to power as the king of the Titans, he imprisoned the 3 ancient one-eyed Cyclopes and only the 100-armed Hecatonchirs in Tartarus and set the monster Camp as its guard. Camp was part scorpion and had a ring of animal heads around. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Her waist, snapping at anyone who dared to get near. She also carried a whip to torture the Cyclopes and the 100 armed ones. Zeus killed Camp and released these imprisoned giants to aid in his conflict with the Titans. The gods of Olympus eventually triumphed. Cronus and many of the other Titans were banished to Tartarus, though Prometheus, Epimetheus, and female Titans, such as Metis, were spared. Other gods could be sentenced to Tartarus as well. In the Homeric hymn to Hermes, Apollo threatens to throw Hermes into Tartarus. Apollo himself was almost condemned to Tartarus by Zeus for the act of killing the Cyclops. The Hecatonchirs became guards of Tartarus as prisoners. Later, when Zeus overcame the monster Typhon, he threw him into wide Tartarus. 8. Residence, edit. Originally, Tartarus was used only to confine dangers to the gods of Olympus and their predecessors. In later mythologies, Tartarus became a space dedicated to the imprisonment and torment of mortals who had sinned against the gods, and each punishment was unique to the condemned. For example, King Sisyphus was sent to Tartarus for killing guests and travelers at his castle in violation of his hospitality, seducing his niece, and reporting one of Zeus' sexual conquests by telling the river goddess Opus, of the whereabouts of his daughter Aegina, who had been taken away by Zeus. 9. But regardless of the impropriety of Zeus' frequent conquests, Sisyphus overstepped his bounds by considering himself a peer of the gods who could rightfully report their indiscretions. When Zeus ordered Thanatos to chain up Sisyphus in Tartarus, Sisyphus tricked Thanatos by asking him how the chains worked and ended up chaining Thanatos. As a result, there was no more death. This caused us to free Thanatos and turn Sisyphus over to him. 10. Some time later, Sisyphus had Persephone send him back to the surface to scold his wife for not burying him properly. Sisyphus was forcefully dragged back to Tartarus by Hermes when he refused to go back to the underworld after that. In Tartarus, Sisyphus was forced forever to try to roll a large boulder to the top of a mountain slope, which, no matter how many times he nearly succeeded in his attempt, would always roll back to the bottom. 11. This constituted the punishment, fitting the crime, of Sisyphus for daring to claim that his cleverness surpassed that of Zeus. Zeus's cunning punishment demonstrated quite the opposite to be the case, condemning Sisyphus to a humiliating eternity of futility and frustration. King Tantalus also ended up in Tartarus after he cut up his son Pelops, boiled him, and served him as food when he was invited to dine with the gods. 12. He also stole the ambrosia from the gods and told his people its secrets. 13. Another story mentioned that he held onto a golden dog, forged by Hephaestus and stolen by Tantalus' friend Pandareus. Tantalus held onto the golden dog for safekeeping and later denied to Pandareus that he had it. Tantalus' punishment for his actions, now a proverbial term for temptation without satisfaction, was to stand in a pool of water beneath a fruit tree with low branches. Whenever he reached for the fruit, the branches raised his intended meal from his grasp. Whenever he bent down to get a drink, the water. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Receded before he could get any. Over his head towered a threatening stone like that of Sisyphus. 14. Ixion was the king of the Lapiths, the most ancient tribe of Thessaly. Ixion grew to hate his father-in-law and ended up pushing him onto a bed of coal and wood, committing the first kin-related murder. The princes of other lands ordered that Ixion be denied the cleansing of his sin. Zeus took pity on Ixion and invited him to a meal on Olympus. But when Ixion saw Hera, he fell in love with her and did some under-the-table caressing until Zeus signaled him to stop. After finding a place for Ixion to sleep, Zeus created a cloud clone of Hera named Nephail to test him, to see how far he would go to seduce Hera. Ixion made love to her, which resulted in the birth of Centaurus, who mated with some Magnesian mares on Mount Pelion and thus begot the race of centaurs, who are called the Ixionidae from their descent. Zeus drove Ixion from Mount Olympus and then struck him with a thunderbolt. He was punished by being tied to a winged flaming wheel that was always spinning, first in the sky and then in Tartarus. Only when Orpheus came down to the underworld to rescue Eurydice did it stop spinning because of the music Orpheus was playing. Ixion's being strapped to the flaming wheel represented his burning lust. In some versions, the Danaans murdered their husbands and were punished in Tartarus by being forced to carry water in a jug to fill a bath which would thereby wash off their sins. But the Jugs were filled with cracks, so the water always leaked out. 1516. The giant Tityos attempted to rape Leto on Hera's orders, but was slain by Apollo and Artemis. As punishment, Tityos was stretched out in Tartarus and tortured by 2 vultures who fed on his liver. This punishment is extremely similar to that of the Titan Prometheus. King Salmoneus was also mentioned to have been imprisoned in Tartarus after passing himself off as Zeus, causing the real Zeus to smite him with a thunderbolt. 17. Arc is the sister of Iris who sided with the Titans as their messenger goddess. Zeus removed her wings following the god's victory over the Titans, and she was thrown into Tartarus with the Titans. Arcnus was condemned in Tartarus perpetually to weave a rope of straw which, as fast as he weaves it, is just as quickly eaten by a donkey. There is no mention of what he did to deserve this fate. When his pregnant daughter Coronis was killed by either Artemis or Apollo, King Phlegyas set fire to the Apollonian temple at Delphi and was killed by Apollo. He was punished in Tartarus by being entombed in a rock and starved in front of an eternal feast as he shouts to the other inhabitants not to despise the gods. According to Plato, c. 427 BC, Rhadamanthus, Aeacus and Minos were the judges of the dead and chose who went to Tartarus. Rhadamanthus judged Asian souls, Aeacus judged European souls, and Minos was the deciding vote and judge of the Greek. 18. Souls regarded as unjust or perjured would go to Tartarus. 18. Those who committed crimes seen as curable would be purified there. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. While those who committed crimes seen as uncurable would be eternally damned, and demonstrate a warning example for the living. 18. In Gorgias, Plato writes about Socrates telling Callicles, who believes might makes right. 19. That doing injustice to others is worse than suffering injustice, and most uncurable inhabitants of Tartarus were tyrants whose might gave them the opportunity to commit huge crimes. 18. Archelaus I of Macedon is mentioned as a possible example of this, while the Sits is said to be curable, because of his lack of might. 18. According to Plato's Phaedo, the uncurable consisted of temple robbers and murderers, while sons who killed one of their parents during a status of rage but regretted this their whole life, and involuntary manslaughterers, would be taken out of Tartarus after 1 year, so they could ask their victims for forgiveness. 20. If they should be forgiven, they were liberated, but if not, would go back and stay there until they were finally pardoned. 20. In the Republic, Plato mentions the myth of a, who is said to have been a fallen soldier who resurrected from the dead, and saw their realm. 21. According to this, the length of a punishment an adult receives for each crime in Tartarus, who is responsible for a lot of deaths, betrayed states or armies and sold them into slavery or had been involved in similar misdeeds, corresponds to 10 times out of 100 earthly years, while good deeds would be rewarded in equal measure. 21. There were a number of entrances to Tartarus in Greek mythology. One was in Aeornum. 22. Roman mythology, edit. In Roman mythology, sinners, as defined by the Roman societal and cultural norms of their time, are sent to Tartarus for punishment after death. Virgil describes Tartarus in great detail in the Aeneid, Book 6. He described it as expansive, It is surrounded by 3 perimeter walls, beyond which flows a flaming river named the Phlegethon. Drinking from the Phlegethon will not kill a mortal, and it will heal while causing great pain. To further prevent escape, a hydra with 50 black gaping jaws sits atop a gate that screeches when opened. They are flanked by adamantine columns, a substance that, like diamond, was believed to be so hard that nothing can cut through it. Citation needed. Inside the walls of Tartarus sits a white-walled castle with a tall, iron turret. Tisiphon, one of the Erinyes, who represents vengeance, stands sleepless guard at the top of the turret lashing her whip. Roman mythology describes a pit inside extending down into the earth twice as far as the distance from the lands of the living to Olympus. The twin sons of the Titan Aloeus were said to be imprisoned at the bottom of this pit. Citation needed. Biblical pseudepigrapha, edit. See also, Jewish pseudepigrapha and Jewish apocrypha. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Tartarus occurs in the Septuagint translation of Job, 40 hours 20 minutes and 41 hours 24 minutes, into Koine Greek, and in Hellenistic Jewish literature from the Greek text of the Book of Enoch, dated to 400–200 BC. This states that God placed the archangel Uriel in charge of the world and of Tartarus, 20:2. Tartarus is generally understood to be the place where 200 fallen watchers, angels, are imprisoned. 23. Reference to the watchers of the Book of Enoch is also observed in Jude 1:6–7, where Scripture describes angels being bound by chains under everlasting darkness, and 2 Peter 2:4, which further describes fallen angels committed to chains in Tartarus. In Hypostasis of the Archons, also translated Reality of the Rulers, an apocryphal Gnostic treatise dated before 350 AD, Tartarus makes a brief appearance when Zed, Life, the daughter of Sophia, Wisdom, casts Ealdabaoth, Demige, down to the bottom of the abyss of Tartarus. 24. In the Book of Thomas, Tartarus is claimed by Jesus to be the place where those who hear the word of Judas Thomas and turn away or sneer are to be sent. These damned will be handed over to the angel or power Tartarachos. 25. New Testament, edit. See also, Hell in Christianity and Christian views on Hades. In the New Testament, the noun Tartarus does not occur but Tartaro, throw to. Tartarus, a shortened form of the classical Greek verb kato Tartaro, throw down to Tartarus, does appear in 2 Peter 2:4. Liddell Scott provides other sources for the shortened form of this verb, including Acasilores, 5th century BC, Joannes Laurentius Ligus, 4th century AD, and the Scholiast. On Aeschylus Eumenides, who cites Pindar relating how the earth tried to Tartaro cast down Apollo after he overcame the Python. 26. In classical texts, the longer form kato Tartaru is often related to the throwing of the Titans down to Tartarus. 27. The English Standard Version is one of several English versions that gives the Greek reading Tartarus as a footnote. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, a, and committed them to chains, b, of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment. 2 Peter 2:4, footnote a, Greek Tartarus. Adam Clarke reasoned that Peter's use of language relating to the Titans was an indication that the ancient Greeks had heard of a biblical punishment of fallen angels. 28. Some evangelical Christian commentaries distinguish Tartarus as a place for wicked angels and Gehenna as a place for wicked humans on the basis of this verse. 29. Other evangelical commentaries, in reconciling that some fallen angels are chained in Tartarus, yet some not, attempt to distinguish between one type of fallen angel and another. 30. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. See also, edit. Greek mythology in popular culture. Erebus. Charon. Lake of fire. Duate. Hell. Orcus. Sheol. The Golden Bough, mythology. The Tartaricai of the non-canonical Apocalypse of Paul. Soratar Chat. References, edit. 1. The word is of uncertain origin. Harper, Douglas. Tartarus. Online Etymology Dictionary. 2. Hesiod, Theogony 116119, Gantz p3, Hard, p23. 3. Hesiod. Theogony 82822, Tripp, SV. Tartarus, Grimmel, SV. Tartarus. 4. Hyginus, Fabulae Preface, Smith, SV. Tartarus. 5. Hesiod. Theogony, 72725. 6. Homer. Iliad, 8.17. 7. Apollodorus, 1.1.2. 8. Hesiod. Theogony, 868. 9. Hamilton, Edith. Brief Myths. Mythology. 10. Ancient Greeks, is death necessary and can death actually harm us? Mlahanas.do. Archived. From the original on the 2nd of July, 2014. Retrieved the 19th of February, 2014. 11. Homer. Odyssey, 11.593600. 12. Pindar. Olympia Nodes, 1.2438. 13. Pindar. Olympia Nodes, 1.60 ff. 14. Homer. Odyssey, 11.582-92. Tantalus transgressions are not mentioned, they must already have been well known to Homer's late 8th century hearers. 15. The Danish government's Third World Aid Agency's name was changed from Danide to Danida in the last minute when this unfortunate connotation was discovered. 16. Tripp, Edward, 2007. The Meridian Handbook of Classical Mythology. Edward Tripp. New York. N.Y., Plume. ISBN 978-452-00927-1. OCLC 123131145. 17. Virgil. Aeneid, 6.585594. 18. ABCDE Plato, Gorgias, 523a527e. 19. Plato, Gorgias, 482d486e. 20. AB Platon, Phaedon, Ed and Tronsa. By Rudolf Kastner, Jena 1906, S105106. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. 21. AB Plato, Der State, Ed and Tronsa. By August Hornefer, Leipzig 1908, p. 348351. 22. The Greek Myths, Volume 1, by Robert Graves, 1990, page 112. He used the passage which Opens at Aornum in Thesprotis and, on his arrival, not only charmed the ferryman Charon. 23 Kelly Koblenz bought a study of the geography of 1 Enoch 1719, no one has seen what I have seen p. 134. 24 Bentley Leighton The Gnostic Scriptures, Reality of the Rulers 95:574 p. 25 John D. Turner The Nag Hammadi Scriptures, the revised and updated translation of sacred Gnostic texts complete in one volume, Introduction to the Book of Thomas p. 235. 26 A Cast into Tartarus or Hell, Acus.8j, 2ep.pet.2.4, lyd.mens.4.158, pass, sch.tl.14.296. Henry George Liddell. Robert Scott. A Greek-English Lexicon. Revised and augmented throughout by Sir Henry Stuart Jones. With the assistance of Roderick Mackenzie. Oxford. Clarendon Press. 1940. 27 Apollodorus of Athens, Indidymus Scholia on Homer, Plutarch concerning rivers. 28 Clarke Commentary The ancient Greeks appear to have received, by tradition, an account of the punishment of the fallen angels and of bad men after death, and their poets did, in conformity I presume with that account, make Tartarus the place where the giants who rebelled against Jupiter, and the souls of the wicked, were confined. Here Seth Hesiod, Theagon, Lin. 720, 1, the rebellious Titans were bound in penal chains. 29 Paul V Harrison, Robert E. Picirilli James, 1, 2 Peter, Jude Randall House Commentaries 1992 p. 267. We do not need to say, then, that Peter was reflecting or approving the Book of Enoch, 20:2, when it names Tartarus as a place for wicked angels in distinction from Gehenna as the place for wicked humans. 30 Vince Garcia The Resurrection Life Study Bible 2007 p. 412 If so, we have a problem. Satan and his angels are not locked up in Tartarus. Satan and his angels were alive and active in the time of Christ, and still are today. Yet Peter specifically, 2 Peter 2:4, states that at least one group of angelic beings have literally been cast down to Tartarus and bound in chains until the last judgment. So if Satan and his angels are not currently bound in Tartarus, who is? The answer goes back again to the angels, who interbred with humans. So then, is it impossible that Azazel is somehow another name for Satan? There may be a chance he is, but there is no way of knowing for sure. Bibliography, edit. Apollodorus, The Library, with an English translation by Sir James George Fraser. FBA, FRS in 2 volumes. Cambridge, Massachusetts, Harvard University Press, London. William Heinemann Limited 1921. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Gantz, Timothy, Early Greek Myth, A Guide to Literary and Artistic Sources, Johns Hopkins University Press, 1996, 2 volumes, ISBN 978-0-8018-5360-9, Volume 1. ISBN 978-0-8018. 5362-3, Volume 2. Grimmel, Pierre, The Dictionary of Classical Mythology, Huyler Blackwell, 1996. ISBN 978-0-631. 20102-1. Hart, Robin, The Routledge Handbook of Greek Mythology, based on H.J. Rose's Handbook of Greek Mythology, Psychology Press, 2004, ISBN 9780415186360. Google Books. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Hesiod, Theogony from the Homeric Hymns and Homerica with an English translation by Hugh G. Evelyn White, Cambridge, Harvard University Press, London, William Heinemann Limited. 1914 online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Greek text available from the same website. Homer, The Iliad with an English translation by A.T. Murray, Ph.D. in 2 volumes. Cambridge. Harvard University Press, London, William Heinemann, Limited 1924. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Homer. Homeric Opera in 5 volumes. Oxford, Oxford University Press. 1920. Greek text. Available at the Perseus Digital Library. Homer, The Odyssey with an English translation by A.T. Murray, Ph.D. in 2 volumes. Cambridge, Harvard University Press, London, William Heinemann, Limited 1919. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Greek text available from the same website. Hyginus, Fabulae from the Myths of Hyginus translated and edited by Mary Grant. University of Kansas Publications in Humanistic Studies. Online version at the Topos Text Project. Pindar, Odes translated by Diane Anson Svalian. 1990. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Pindar, The Odes of Pindar including the principal fragments with an introduction and an English translation by Sir John Sandys, Lit.D, FBA. Cambridge, Harvard University Press, London, William Heinemann Limited 1937. Greek text available at the Perseus Digital Library. Publius Virgilius Maro, Aeneid. Theodore C. Williams. Trans. Boston. Houghton Mifflin Company 1910. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Publius Virgilius Maro, Bucolics, Aeneid, and Georgics. J. B. Greenhoff. Boston. Ginn and Company. 1900 Latin text available at the Perseus Digital Library. Smith, William, Dictionary of Greek and Roman Biography and Mythology, London, 1873. Online version at the Perseus Digital Library. Tripp, Edward, Crowell's Handbook of Classical Mythology, Thomas Y. Crowell Co., 1st edition. June, 1970. ISBN 0690226008X. Categories: Greek death gods, conceptions of hell, locations in the Greek underworld. Underworld gods, Greek primordial deities, children of Gaia, consorts of Gaia. Personifications, residents of the Greek underworld, Greek underworld. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF.